Should just be, well, because of the break would have been a bit longer. The race might be slightly shorter, but yeah. Okay, so welcome back to the race stream for the Monaco Cup. In the break, all the drivers came upstairs, had a quick drink, and when they came back down, it was raining. The track is going to be very, very greasy now, as we may see Sam Cole just understeering there through the S's as he heads round to the grid, because it is going to be very greasy, and their tyres, of course, are probably still fairly warm, but will have cooled down significantly from qualifying. It's just over my shoulder. Stephen Armit is the first victim of the slippery track. It's spinning out on the way over to the grid. Very easily done, of course. So we'll go back, we'll just have a quick run through of the kart numbers again. So kart number 1 is Sam Cole, who is also on pole. Bo Sullivan in the number 3. Kamari Williams, kart 4. Gustav, kart 6. Louis Phillips, kart 7. Johan Kalachern, kart 8. Daniel Tobin in the number 10. Number 11 is Stephen Armit. And number 12, Harry Hurst. There's the last few drivers head off the bricks to try and find out where the grip is. Bo Sullivan pulling at the steering wheel, trying to work out the slipperiness. And we've got a driver stuck down at pylon, so the start will be held until he is sorted out by one of our marshals, who is on site now to recover the kart. Stephen Armit I spoke to in the interlude will be starting 7th on the grid. Looks like he's alongside Kamari Williams. William Pink is the marshal on the grid today. So we appear to have a driver stationary at pylon 2. Seems like an odd place for them to be stopped. They don't appear to be stuck. That engine is still running. I can hear it from here. So that's a strange thing to happen. Let me just spun out. It's the marshal telling him now. His steering will feel different from qualifying because it's been raining. It has now stopped raining. So after a few laps we can expect to see a dry line forming. In fact, I can already see a dry line forming on parts of the circuit just from evaporation. So as soon as the karts get going, they will quickly dry the racing line, which make overtaking very difficult indeed. Should have to venture onto the slippery, wet part of the track to get past them. Just trying to see what car is stopped, and I think it might be Louis Phillips. It's either Louis Phillips or... no, I think it is Louis Phillips. Stopped at pylon 2. Just have a discussion with the marshal there. To which the reply will be, it's been raining, it will feel different. Drivers can expect quite a lot of understeer to begin with. And then of course as soon as as soon as the dry line picks up, it'll be more or less the standard racing line. So with all the karts, doesn't look quite right from here. There appears to be a large gap in the middle of the grid. Which doesn't look quite right. And we've got a driver venturing back round to the bricks. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be a spare kart or if this is going to be a DNS. But it may be a good opportunity to show you the understeer that the drivers are going to encounter as they come through. Or maybe not. Race director and head mechanic Luke Ladley out on the circuit now to inspect the kart as Stephen Armit does the same. You can see there how slippery it really is. I'm not sure what is the issue here. I'm not in contact with the marshals, so I can't ask them. The two drivers opting to abort their start for the time being at the very least and come round to the bricks again. So obviously it'll be at the race director's discretion as to whether they take up their normal grid position or whether they have to start from the back of the grid, as I think I just felt another spot of rain. I think Stephen Armit there signalling that the steering feels funny, which is common when it's been raining. Drivers that aren't necessarily going to know initially what the issue is, but I can guarantee you it will be because it's been raining. The drivers are all on slick tyres, irrespective of the weather. And I think, to be honest, even if we had the option of wet tyres, I'd still be suggesting dries, because I think, well, before long it will be dry. It is already drying up. A lot of drivers now having to sit on the grid for quite a while, tyres getting cold. So we will see how that turns out. So it looks as though this may be a DNS. Did not start for Louis Phillips, who appears to be retiring before the beginning of the race. I can hear now Stephen and race director Luke just discussing the dynamics of driving in the wet and the fact that the steering is going to feel very funny. Slick tyres, of course. Even if it keeps raining, we'll still be on slicks. So with that DNS, it looks as though that is Daniel Tobin at the back of the grid. So that is going to be Kamari Williams just ahead of him. Looks as though Kamari may got a free pass for the position ahead of him, assuming he can get a good enough start. These drivers just wait over at the grid. I have no doubt that Stephen is going to retake the grid. I don't think he'll be a DNS. We will soon see. He's a very enthusiastic driver. Loves his racing, just loves being in the kart as much as anything. And away he goes. He's going to take back to the grid now. So we'll soon see. And he's not happy. There's not a lot we can do about it, Stephen. We can't stop it from raining. He seems to be coping more with it now, as the track is now, I would say, more or less dry. So a lot of drivers are going to have that added benefit now because of that delay, where the race is going to start a slightly drier circuit than it would have done. Stephen takes up his grid position, and then as soon as Marshall is clear, the race director Luke Ladley-Elmers will be starting the race. So the red lights are on, the revs go, and there's the green, so away we go. Kamari Williams not with the best start, can't capitalise on that gap ahead of him initially as they head through stadium now for the first time. Small amounts of understeer from all the drivers on the slippery surface, and Daniel Tobin spins out. So first place, Bo Sullivan, second Sam Cole, Harry Hurst in third place. Yihan in fourth. Stephen Armit fifth, Gustav sixth, Kamari seventh, and Daniel down in eighth. In fact, a lot of drivers opting for the dry line now, so that shows you how quickly the circuit has dried. As a contact warning goes out to kart number 5, which is Kamari Williams. So head through hairpin 1 for the second time. It's now Yihan up in third, getting past Harry Hurst, who slipped to fourth. Stephen still fifth. Gustav sixth, Kamari seventh. And it is still Bo Sullivan from Sam Cole at the lead, at the front even. Yihan now challenging Sam Cole. Can he get past him down the straight? He's got a good exit onto the straight. Tucks in behind. Can he make a move into stadium? He has a look at the right. Can't quite make that work, I don't think, but he's past him. He is past him, so that's an excellent move from Yihan. Can he make it stick those? And Sam Cole up the inside into hairpin 1. This is going to be a good battle between them. Yihan just cutting his line off to try and get an advantage. Does manage it as they lead side by side into pylon 1. Yihan with the inside line for the right-hander gets past, takes the lead of those two. Up into second place. Can he capitalise on that now? Get a good exit onto the straight, and I think he does. And he opens that gap up as they head down into stadium. Stephen Armit and Harry Hurst wheel to wheel behind them. Oh, and there's a contact. The number 1 car, contact there. That may well be an ABC. If he doesn't give that place back, he might be forced to by the marshals, who may get an ABC warning for that. We'll soon find out as he comes across the line in a second. It doesn't look like he is, so the marshal's deeming that he would have gained that position and the contact was null and void. Yehan manages to pass him back up the inside of the stadium. Very good move. There's Bo Sullivan there leading the way. Sam Cole unable to make a move this time in hairpin 1. Let's see what he can do at hairpin 2. Nothing doing this time. The Harry Hurst still fourth. Stephen Armit there, now in 5th. I think that is likely to be his best finish, assuming he can maintain it. And the curse of the commentator, he runs wide and loses 2 positions. Just as I said, if he can maintain the position, he's on for his best finish ever. That is quite literally the definition of the curse of the commentator. So Bo Sullivan still leading, Gihan Kalachern 2nd, Sam Cole 3rd. And Sam Cole having a look, can't make anything work at hairpin 1. Hairpin 2 maybe, not quite. Not sure how long this race will be now because of the fairly long break and then extra time taken out of the what was essentially the break for the DNS decision from Louis Phillips and the chat with Stephen about wet driving, about how his steering will feel different, although now the track is, I would say, dry. Now these drivers look like they're struggling for grip at least. Yehan Kalachern there, 2nd place with a couple of kart lengths to 3rd, and he's closing the door. And not only is he closing the door there, he's also closing in on the race leader, Bo Sullivan. As Bo opens up down the straight, stretches away. It seems as though Yehan is a lot faster in the middle section than Bo, perhaps unsurprisingly with his cadet background. However, Bo is faster in the 1st sector, as I call it, which is this one they're in now. Although Yehan closing still now, right on the back of him. He can get a good exit onto the straight. I think Yehan might be able to challenge into stadium. Oh, and Bo equaling his entry to the straight, not quite getting through. But as they head back into hairpin 1 now, Yehan having a look. Can't quite get up the inside. Can he do anything at hairpin 2? We saw him get past Sam Cole before. Not quite this time. Biding his time. Working out where he's faster. Bit of a bump draft down the straight. As they head now towards the back straight, Sam Cole still not far behind them. Harry Hurst still in 4th. Oh, and I think Yehan now is going to have a look. He moves to the right, gets cut off. Can he do anything in stadium? Not quite this time. But he's a lot closer. He's still right on that bumper. He's a lot faster. Bo Sullivan having to take a defensive line into hairpin 1, sorry. What can he do at hairpin 2 though? Oh, and these top 3 now is very close. Very, very close indeed. Superb close racing though. As they head back through stadium, Yehan bumper to bumper with Bo. Oh, and Bo having to take the defensive line once again to try and block Yihan from getting through. You have to feel as though... Oh, and Yihan now up the inside. Not quite going to get him, I don't think, down the straight. Bo's got the inside line. Oh, and just gets back ahead. You have to feel as though Bo is slightly holding the other two up. Especially Yihan, having come from third into second and now challenging for first. He is on a charge. Ducking and diving left and right. Trying to find an opening. As we see now, just at the front of your shot there, down at the bottom, while Stephen Armit and Daniel Tobin having a good little race. But this race for the lead, even better. Yihan right in the middle of this battle, commanding the battle, I would say, setting the pace from second. Now as they head down into the stadium again, Yihan bump drafting, perfectly legal. Can he look around the outside? Don't think there was space. Very, very difficult to go around the outside of stadium in the dry. Small brake check there from Bo Sullivan. Just trying to force the error. Or Yihan just having a look. Couldn't quite get past him and turning left into pylon or right. Does, of course, if you go left at pylon, it compromises your line for the right-hander. But as they come on the straight now, what can Yihan do? Can he get through? Bo moves to the middle, tries to block him off. Superb defensive driving. And they're bunched up now. As we head hairpin one. Still Bo Sullivan leading, but only just. Yihan Calichurn, second place, and Sam Cole in third. All separated by maybe a second. Oh, and Yihan having a look, couldn't quite make it stick there. But can he get a good run onto the straight? They're all bumper to bumper. Bo looking to his right, so Yihan goes to the left. Yihan's unofficial teammate and friend Joe Cheek up here cheering him on. Also very, very good cadet driver. Oh, and Yihan just drawing level with Bo. He's not going to have the run into pylon though. If he can maintain his speed, he might just get him. As I've just seen Daniel Tobin get past Stephen Armit. So they're racing well. It was a clean pass from what I saw, which is good just to see Daniel back. He had a couple of months off. And now the race leaders are going to be catching them soon. As you see them there at the front of your screen, the two carts going into elbow. And the race leaders rapidly catching them up to put them a lap down. I don't know if Stephen is using a combination of the wet line or not, but he seems to be running wide at hairpin one. Still Bo Sullivan from Yihan Calichurn and Sam Cole in third. As they now approach the back markers. What can they do here? Oh, Daniel Tobin just giving Stephen a thumbs up to come down straight. Is he happy to be back in the car? But now these race leaders have got the back markers to contend with. What can they do here? They've got to make sure they run it clean. They can't be bumping them out of the way. They'll get an ABC for that. Oh, Stephen just trying to let them through, but there's nowhere for him to go, really. There's so many carts around him. The same with Daniel. Just letting the race leaders through, doing the right thing. But unfortunately, somewhere like pylon, You can't be out of the way for the whole corner. At one point or another, you're going to be in the way. And that has cost Sam Cole dearly now. It's a contact warning for kart number 1, so that is Sam Cole. As he just about gets past Stephen Armit now, just Daniel Tobin for him to get past. And he's back in the game for the race lead. But Yehan and Bo Sullivan have a bit of a lead now. So as it starts to get darker here, we may get the floodlights on shortly. And this will be, I think, the first live stream we will have done where we've needed the floodlights. So if the picture goes a bit strange, I apologise. But so far we haven't needed them. But oh, I thought Yehan might have just got around the outside of Bo there at the stadium, but he didn't quite. Yehan just using a little bit more track on the way out. Bump drafting down the straight, quite literally pushing each other down the straight. Obviously that is perfectly legal down the straights. It's in the corners that you're not allowed to do that. You know what, I think Yehan is going to be slightly quicker overall. But unfortunately, can't quite get past. Bo Sullivan giving an excellent defensive drive. And is using the defensive line once again into hairpin 1. Just to block off that inside line. And going around the outside there is not really an option, so Yehan just has to tuck in behind him again. Try next lap. So head onto the back straight again now. Bo again taking the defensive line on the right hand side of the straight to cover that inside line through stadium. And we're on lap 20 now for the race leaders. So I would estimate we're going to be roughly just under halfway through this race. Oh, and Yehan just had a little look on the left, couldn't quite make that work. I would have given him the inside line into pylon 1, but that didn't quite work for him. Gonna have to try again next time. Let's have a look further down the field. We've got a good battle between Kamari Williams and Gustav, as they head through pylon, and Daniel Tobin and Stephen Armit also wheel to wheel. So excellent battles all the way down the field. As I'm just trying to keep an eye out on that race leader situation. Still Bo Sullivan leading, with Yehan on his bumper. So at the moment, realistically, the only driver with no one around him is young Harry Hurst up in 4th place. Driver development really paying off for him. He had a good experience of wet weather driving. It seems to be working well now. And Yehan just having a look up the inside, coming out of hairpin 2, didn't quite pay off this time. Managed, tries to duck underneath. Going into pylon, that didn't work either. Bo had it covered. And now Sam Cole is right back in this. And this is a three-way battle once again for the lead. All three drivers separated by a second or so. And I have to say, if that carries on for the whole race, and this is going to be an epic bout, and a very, very close finish. Yihan trying literally everything now to try and find a way past Bo. He doesn't want to fall behind Sam either, and Yihan now side by side as they head into final. He's got a nose ahead, but Bo's got the inside line. Yihan is past him, but not enough. Bo comes back. What can Yihan do as they come on the straight though? Bo bumps over the curb, that will have lost him some speed. Sam Cole's going to get through. Sam Cole goes into second place, but only just. I think Stadium's going to cement it though, and it does. So Bo Sullivan, unfortunately, with a small mistake at pylon 2, cost him those 2 positions. The championship leader. Yihan Kalachern is the new race leader as they approach some more back markers. So there, Daniel Tobin and Stephen Armit will be the back markers again for the race leaders to catch. And we're on the final lap, so I don't know as if Yihan will have seen that, but we are on the final lap of this race. So we'll follow this battle again. Yihan Kalachern now, he's only got half a lap to hold this. That's all he needs to do, and it was an excellent fight from all 3 of those top drivers. But I think he is going to do it. So Yihan Kalachern is going to come onto the back straight now, and he's going to take the checkered flag. Checkered flag goes out, and Yihan Kalachern puts his head look over the moon. Harry Hurst takes 4th. Stephen Armit just falling off the track at Stadium. Driver's slowing down now. Stephen now just out of annoyance, I think. I'm not sure if that was contact or if that was from annoyance. Daniel Tobin, having not seen the checkered flag, has now stopped. Not quite sure what he's doing. And that will be frowned upon by the marshals. They won't be very happy with what Daniel's managed to do there. He seems determined to go to the back of the line though, or at least stop there. So all in all, a very, very good race. Harry Hurst over the moon with his 4th place finish. Is going to really help his championship. And so that is that. An excellent, really, really good battle between these 3 drivers, Yihan Kalachern, Sam Cole and Bo Sullivan. Good, clean racing from all of them. The drivers are now instructed to undo their belts and jump up. That was excellent. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you again very soon for another championship race.